The Ghanaian sun, a molten orb of gold, was sinking towards the lush green hills surrounding the village of Adinkrohin when Prince Kofi stepped into Abaiko's chop bar. He had just returned from years abroad, studying international business in London and traveling across Europe. Though his crisp linen shirt spoke of wealth and his smile was practiced charm, his dark eyes held a deep, unspoken sorrow. As he settled onto a worn wooden stool, his oldest friend, Abaiko, the chop bar owner, emerged from the smoky kitchen, his face lighting up. "Kofi." Abaiko bellowed, enveloping the prince in a bear hug that smelled of smoked fish and groundnut soup. "My brother. You are finally home from across the seas." Kofi returned the embrace, a genuine warmth briefly touching his eyes. "Yes, Abaiko. I am back." He sighed, the weight returning to his shoulders as he sat. "But Abaiko, my heart is heavy." "I am not happy, why?" Abaiko asked, wiping his hands on his apron, his brow furrowed. "You finished your studies with top marks, eh? You are a prince. Your father's palace in Kumasi could hold this whole village. The girls, they flock to you like bees to honey." "What problem is this?" "That is the problem, Abaiko," Kofi said, his voice low. "Girls flock, yes. But not to Kofi. They flock to the title, to the palace, to the Range Rovers, to the bank accounts my father controls. Never to the man inside. Never to my heart." Abaiko pulled up another stool beside him. This is deep water, my friend. What is it you truly seek?" "I seek true love, Abaiko," Kofi confessed, leaning forward earnestly. "I want a woman who will cherish me even if I were a poor farmer with nothing but my 2 hands and a plot of yams. That is why. I want to pretend to be a poor man." "A simple delivery boy for your chop bar," Abaiko's jaw dropped. "You, Prince Kofi Ose, heir to the golden stool of Ashanti, a delivery boy. Have the London rains washed away your senses?" "I am deadly serious," Kofi insisted. "No one must know who I truly am. I need to hide my identity completely, live and work like any ordinary man struggling to get by." Abaiko threw back his head and laughed, a rich, rumbling sound. Well. The ancestors must be smiling. There is a new place needing deliveries, Sankofa University, just built near the edge of the village. Full of bright young things, many from rich Accra families. They love my banku and tilapia, my light soup. And the girls there. Abaiko winked. They are like rare jewels. Beautiful, educated. Perhaps your true queen is among them, waiting to see the man, not the prince. Kofi's eyes sparkled with a flicker of hope. "You think so?" Abaiko nodded firmly. "I know it in my bones." Start tomorrow. The next morning, Prince Kofi was gone. In his place stood Kwame, clad in faded, slightly too large jeans, a plain white t-shirt frayed at the collar, and a worn black baseball cap pulled low over his eyes. Gone was the subtle scent of imported cologne, replaced by the cheap, slightly medicinal tang of local morning dew body spray. He wheeled Abaiko's ancient, rattling delivery bicycle, its basket laden with steaming packs of food, towards the imposing gates of Sankofa University. Students streamed past him, chatting in Rapetry and English, flashing the latest smartphones, carrying designer backpacks. Their clothes crisp and expensive. Most didn't even glance his way. He was invisible, part of the scenery they paid to ignore. He felt a pang of the isolation he'd sought. He reached the female hostel block, a modern building contrasting sharply with the village's mud brick homes. Outside, leaning against the pillar, was a vision. Antonia. Her skin was flawless cocoa, her hair intricately braided and cascading down her back. Diamond studs sparkled in her ears, and her sandals looked like they cost more than Abaiko made in a month. But her posture radiated icy disdain. As Kwame approached, holding out her food pack, he said politely, "Excuse me, miss." Delivery from Abaiko's chop bar, Antonia recoiled as if he'd offered her garbage. "AW. What is that smell?" she sneered, pinching her nose dramatically. "Who even are you, Kwame, miss. From Abaikus. Your banku and okra stew is here, he replied, keeping his voice calm. She looked him up and down, her lip curling. You have a decent face, Kwame, but you smell like you wrestled a goat in a dumpster. Are you human or just a walking compost heap? Kwame stiffened, the insult stinging, but he held his tongue. Ugh. I hope your grubby hands haven't touched my food. Antonia continued, snatching the pack with 2 fingers as if it were contaminated. I'm calling Abaiku first thing tomorrow. He needs to know he's employing walking pollution. You won't be delivering to me again, a desperate plea rose in Kwame's throat. Please, miss, don't call him, he said, bowing his head slightly, adopting the humble posture he'd observed. This job, it's how I eat. How I survive. Please, give me another chance. I'll find better spray tomorrow. Antonia folded her arms, tapping an expensive sandal. You better bathe in it. Look at my skin, she shrieked, gesturing to her arm. Do you want your poor people sting to ruin it? People like you need to learn basic hygiene before you handle things meant for your betters. A group of nearby students snickered. Kwame forced a weak smile, humiliation burning his cheeks. Thank you, miss. I will do better. He turned quickly, clutching the empty delivery bag like a shield, his knuckles white. Inside, anger warred with a profound sadness. This is the reality for so many, he thought bitterly. Invisible, insulted, powerless. If only they knew. But he pushed the thought down. I will find someone who sees me, he whispered to himself as he pedaled the rickety bike back towards the village, the weight of his disguise heavier than ever. Back at the chop bar, Abaiku was wiping down the counter. So, Kwame, he grinned. How was your first day as a working man? Kwame slumped onto a stool. Terrible. A girl named Antonia, she called me foul, threatened to get me fired because I smelled, poured scorn on me like I was dirt, Abaiku chuckled, not unkindly. Oh, welcome to the real Ghana, my prince. Not everyone has time for manners when they feel high above, but Kwame shook his head, a spark of determination in his eyes. No, Abaiku. I'm not giving up. I'm going back tomorrow, true to his word. Kwame rose before dawn. He scrubbed himself raw under the communal village tap, used a generous amount of the sweet-smelling Royal Touch perfume Abaiku had given him, ironic. Abaiku had joked, and even meticulously polished his worn sneakers. He wanted to be clean, even in his poverty. He arrived at Sankofa early. As he approached the hostel, Antonia was already there, a picture of bored contempt. Seeing him, she rolled her eyes so dramatically Kwame thought they might stick. You again, she drawled. Try not to breathe near me this time. Yes, miss, Kwame replied, managing a polite smile. Your order. He handed her the pack carefully. She sniffed the air cautiously. At least you don't reek like yesterday's garbage. Don't forget my warning stance. She snatched the food without a word of thanks and turned away. Kwame sighed, the familiar sting of dismissal returning. He moved down the hostel walkway to deliver the next order. As he turned to leave, a soft, clear voice called out, "Excuse me, brother," he turned. A young man was descending the steps from the hostel's upper floor. He carried a tray of empty plates and cups back to the canteen. He wore simple, clean trousers and a slightly faded university polo shirt. He had no flashy jewelry, his hair was cut neat and low, and his smile was warm and genuine. To Kwame, in that moment, he shone brighter than any diamond Antonia possessed. You dropped this, the young man said, holding out Kwame's cheap biro pen. It fell when you gave Antonia her food. Oh. Thank you. Kwame said, genuinely surprised by the kindness. You're welcome, the young man smiled. You're new with Abaiku's deliveries. I'm Kwame. He offered his hand. Kwame hesitated only a fraction of a second before shaking it firmly. Kwame. Same name. I'm Daniel. Just started. He used the first common name that popped into his head. Nice to meet you, Daniel, Kwame, the scholar said. Abaiku's light soup is the best in the region. My mother makes good soup, but it's special, Daniel, the prince, smiled. I'll tell him you said so. He'll be pleased. He felt an unexpected warmth at the easy conversation. By the way, Kwame added, his expression sincere, thank you for bringing the food every day. I know not everyone says it, but I appreciate it. It saves time for studying. Daniel's heart did a little flip. He said thank you. A simple phrase, offered freely. That means a lot, Kwame. Truly, Kwame nodded. Don't let Antonia and her type get to you. Some people here wear gold on the outside but have ash in their hearts. He gestured towards the hostel where Antonia had disappeared. Daniel couldn't help a soft chuckle. Wise words. Thanks for saying that. All right, Kwame said, shifting the tray. Duty calls. Have a good day. Daniel, you too, Kwame, Daniel replied, watching him walk away, a genuine smile spreading across his face for the first time since his return. For the rest of the day, Daniel couldn't shake the image of Kwame, the scholar. The simple act of returning a pen, the genuine gratitude, the insightful comment about hearts filled with ash. Kwame had looked at him, Daniel the delivery boy, and seen a person worthy of respect. The contrast with Antonia was jarring.